وانطفت حروفي في ربوع بياني.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد النبي العالمين الذي اسمه مكتوبا في الإنجيل والتوراة. أما بعد، فقد قال الله عز وجل في كتابه العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وألف بين قلوبكم لو أنفقت ما في الأرض جميعا ما ألفت بين قلوبهم ولكن الله ألف بينهم. وقال جل وعلا في مقام آخر: ولو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك فاعف عنهم واستغفر لهم وشاورهم في الأمر. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن جرير بن عبد الله رضي الله عنه قال: بايعنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على إقامة الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة والنصح لكل مسلم، أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. My dear brothers, sisters, youngsters and students in Islam, if we look throughout the world today, we find two types of people. Wherever you look, in whichever society, in whichever workplace, in whichever school, you will find that there are two types of people. There is one group of individuals who make it a part of their life that whatever task they have been given at hand, whatever job, whatever occupation that they have been given, they will use all of their God-given talents, all of their skills, all of their abilities to make sure that that task is achieved at the best level as it possibly could be. They will work, they will put in their time, they will put in their energy, they will put in their skills to make sure that that job, that task that they were given is the best as it possibly ever could be. That's one group of people. And there's a second group of individuals who are those employees, who are those individuals, those brothers and sisters that make it a part of their lives. That not only will they use their skills in their life, all their talents, their energy, their time, their work, to fulfill the task that they have at hand, but they will make sure that while I fulfill my task, while I'll complete my job, I raise others with me, and I pick up other people with me. As an employer, which employee would I want? Do I want that employee that will do his job or her job, clock in at 9 o'clock and clock out at 5 p.m., and they did their job, and they did their job at an epitome of it. They did a fabulous job. But while they were doing that job, no one else was affected with their greatness. No one else was able to take from their qualities. No one else was able to take from that which he or she can provide. But rather, whatever that person had was confined within himself or herself. Or would you want a person to work for us that has the quality, that whatever abilities that he or she has, they can take it, they do their job to the best of it, but they also benefit those that are with him, and they raise the ability of those that are around him. And your brothers and sisters, similarly, there are two types of slaves of Allah. There are two types of ibad. There are two types of servants. There are two types of Muhammadis. There is one group of us who tell ourselves that I want to be that person, that I pay my salat on time, I'll give my zakat, I'll go for my hajj, I'll do all the tasks that have been assigned to me as an ummati of the Prophet ﷺ. I'm doing that, I'm doing all those tasks the best I possibly can. All those tasks have been taken care of, but that's where that person stops. That's where his engine turns off. Beyond that, there is nothing for him or her. But then there is another group of people. There is another group of ibad of Allah that they say to themselves that yes, I will take care of all my tasks. My salat will not hinder. I will not fall back in my zakat. I will make sure my siyam is the best as it possibly can. But at the same time, my responsibility is to raise the level of other people around me. Is to raise those that are within my communities. And when Hassan radiallahu anhu asked his uncle Hind Abi Hala, when he asked him that please do describe to me what my grandfather was like. Describe to me, who was he? What was he like? And we believe without a shadow of a doubt, in a blink of an eye, that whatever qualities are defined as good qualities and as positive characteristics, our Prophet ﷺ was the epitome of that. Any good quality that a person can think of, our Prophet had the best of those qualities. And if there was any negative quality or a flaw, our Prophet ﷺ was the furthest from it. So when Hassan radiallahu anhu asked his uncle that described to me how the Prophet was, it was not an easy question to answer. You know, when someone asks us a question, hey man, how is that person like? What is she like? What is he like? The process of answering that question to leave a positive light on that person's heart is to speak about the best quality that he or she has. That when someone's asking you about someone and you want to put him in a good light, you say, you know him, he's a very generous person. She's a very kind person. He's a physician. She's an engineer. We start with the qualities that will leave a mark on the person's heart. Well, it's easy for people like us because we don't have many good qualities. They're numbered. But when you're speaking about the Prophet ﷺ, which quality do we start with? And which quality did he start with? And many a times when we speak about the seerah and the khuluq of the Prophet ﷺ, we become overwhelmed. There's so much to speak about. There's so many qualities. And it becomes difficult for us to grapple and grasp a specific quality. But today, let's speak about that quality which won the Sahabas. Let's speak about that quality when we're speaking about an era and a time in which these people, and if you open the books of history and flip the pages, perhaps there's not a time which was worse than this. What did this man possess within his life that was able to turn these people into individuals that ruled the world? Not only did they rule the world, they ruled the hearts of people. So he starts off by saying, لَكَانَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ فَخْمًا مُفَخَّمًا. That the Prophet ﷺ was a man who was naturally honorable. In his natural presence, people were in awe of him. In his natural presence, people were positively affected by him. Just by sitting with him, just by sitting in his gathering, your morale would rise. You would feel better about yourself. You will feel good about yourself just by sitting with the Prophet ﷺ. In the battle of Uhud, there was a lady by the name of Hamna bint Jahash radiyallahu anha, and she runs into the battlefield. And as she runs into the battlefield, Sahabas come to her and say that your father has passed away. And she says, so be it. Move out of my way, I want to see how the Prophet is. Another man comes to her and says to her, your husband has passed away. She says, so be it, let me move forward. Another man comes to her and says, your brother has passed away. She says, so be it, I want to see how the Prophet is, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And finally, she reaches where the Prophet ﷺ was sitting in the bottom of the ditch with his teeth shaheed, blood streaming down his face by the rock that hit him. He's sitting there bleeding, and this woman runs up and she sees the Prophet sitting down in such a situation, in such a state. And as she comes close to him and she sees him, she grabs her dupatta, her hijab that was covering her head, and she wipes the tears that were streaming down her cheeks off her face, and she looks at the Prophet ﷺ and she says, my father became shaheed, my brother became shaheed, my husband became shaheed. But O Prophet of Allah, kullu musibatin ba'daka jalalun. That every hardship in this world, every calamity in this world, after seeing you becomes non-existent. It disappears. This was the effect that the Prophet ﷺ had on the lives of these people. Today, if I am going through a hardship, if I'm going through a calamity, whose phone do I want to pick up? Or if someone's going through a hardship, do they want to call me? And then when they see me in the masjid, do they want to sit with me? Do they want to meet me? If they do, or if they actually want to be with me, that means that I have the quality of being able to fulfill my rights to Allah, but at the same time, raising the morale of others. And this brings me to this quality of the Prophet ﷺ, which he championed. This was a quality which he brought into the world. This was a quality that he brought and he innovated. The quality, my dear brothers and sisters, of empathy for his believers. For empathy for humanity. You know, there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is me saying to someone, I acknowledge your hardship. I recognize your struggle. I feel you. I feel for you. I noticed that, man. That's injustice. That's wrong. That's cheap. That's cheap. Even non-Muslims can show sympathy to us. That's the beginning of the journey. That's not the epitome of the journey. How did the Prophet ﷺ exercise his empathy for people. And empathy is the quality of putting myself in the shoes of others. And not feeling for them, but actually feeling with them. Not saying I understand your injustice that's been shown to you, but saying that I am with you while you're going on this journey of your calamity. While you're struggling, I am with you. And the Prophet ﷺ was a champion of this quality. We open the books of seerah and history, and we find that this quality was manifested and displayed in every corner of the Prophet ﷺ's life. The Prophet ﷺ is sitting after Fath Makkah in front of the Kaaba, and he hears that Ikramah bin Abi Jahl has come back from his journey, and he wants to come meet the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet gets wind of this. And as Ikramah is coming to meet the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet is sitting with the companions. And this is the son of Abu Jahl. This is the son of that person, the only person in Makkah who actually killed Sahabas. He murdered Sahabas. The only person in Makkah which had the audacity and plucked up the courage to harm the Prophet physically. He was the one that tied the rope across the Prophet's neck, and he held him tight until he fell on his knees, and until Abu Bakr came and pushed him off him. He was the one that told Utbah ibn Rabi' to throw intestines in the back of the Prophet ﷺ. He was the one, the reason why Badr actually took place, even after Abu Sufyan said, I'm safe, I don't need you to come. This man, his son is coming to meet the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ addresses his companions. And he says to them, the Ikramah is coming to meet me. And while he's coming to meet me, I hope that he becomes a Muslim. I hope he becomes a believer with me. And he doesn't stop there. He says to the companions, the galaxy of the greatest men and women in the world, he says to them that, oh my dear companions, when Ikramah comes to meet me and he sits in front of me, do not mention his father by the name of Abu Jahl. Don't call him Abu Jahl. Don't call him by that name. That was not the name that his father gave him. Call him Amr ibn Hisham. Because if he comes here and you say Abu Jahl, perhaps it will leave a negative effect on his heart. The Prophet ﷺ put himself in the shoes of a non-Muslim. Now, how would he feel that if someone called my father Abu Jahl? How would I feel if someone spoke to my father like that? The Prophet puts himself in the shoes of this non-Muslim. This doesn't stop. The Prophet ﷺ in Medina, when Abdullah ibn Ubay as-Sulul al-Munafiq, the leader of the gang of the Munafiqun in Medina, the champion of those Munafiqun, when he passes away, and Allah has told the Prophet ﷺ, Istaghfir lahum, aw la tastaghfir lahum, that if you repent for him or if you don't repent for him, it won't really make a difference. His fate is sealed and is closed. No one can change it. وَلَا تُصَلِّي عَلَىٰ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ مَاتَ أَبَدًا وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَىٰ قَبْرِ. Don't even go stand on their graves. But the son of Abdullah ibn Ubay comes to the Prophet ﷺ, crying and weeping over the death of his father, and he comes to him. This is a munafiq. Not only is he a munafiq, he was the one that led nifaqat, and he led hypocrisy in the city. He was the one, because of him, 300 Sahabas, 300 people left with him in the battle of Uhud. And his son is coming to the Prophet ﷺ, and he's saying to the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, my father has passed away. And he's weeping in front of the Prophet. Now what should a man say about a person who did all of these negative atrocities and brought all of this pain and calamity to him physically, mentally, psychologically? And this son is sitting in front of him, and the Prophet says, he knows that my repentance for him will not make a difference, but what I say right now and what I do right now may affect this person's psychological state right now. Maybe if I say something, it can raise his morale. Maybe the way I answer his plea, it will make a difference. And the Prophet ﷺ says to Abdullah, he takes off the cloth that he was wearing. He takes off the clothes on his back. And he says to Abdullah, this will become the kafan for your father. Take this as a shroud for your father and bury him in this. This brought peace and happiness to this child and this youngster. Putting yourself in the shoes of other. Today in the time that we live in, perhaps it's easy to put a post on Facebook and tweet a tweet on Twitter and post a picture on Instagram. That's lip service. Do I truly have empathy for my dear Muslim brothers and sisters across the world, but within my own community? Well, the Prophet ﷺ, when Jarir ibn Abdullah became a Muslim, he said that the Prophet ordered me to do three things. إقامة الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة والنصح لكل مسلم. Actually caring for people. Actually having the ability to recognize that someone is going through a struggle. No one's going to walk inside the masjid written on his forehead that me, I'm struggling right now, help me out. A child, when he walks inside of the house and his mother hears him, the mother, without him even speaking, can recognize that my child is going through something, because the mother actually has that love and affection for the child. The Prophet ﷺ was that person for every single Sahaba. Whenever they were struggling, whenever they would go through something, the Prophet ﷺ would find them. He would look for them. He would recognize that this person is going through something in his life and he needs my empathy. He needs me to be there for him. And in Medina, after Salatul Fajr, the Prophet ﷺ leaves his house on the day of Eid. And as he leaves his home, he sees a child sitting on the sidewalk. And he comes to the child and he says to him that today is the day of Eid. Why are you sitting all alone on the sidewalk? Go home with your parents, enjoy, dress up, get ready for Eid and come back. You should be looking good today. You should be upbeat, you should be happy. The child looks back at the Prophet and says, what? فَقَدْتُ أَبَوَيَّ. I've lost my parents. My parents have passed away. I don't have anyone to go to. There is no one to take me in. There is no one to be there for me. The Prophet ﷺ says to him, your parents are passed away. And he picks him up, held his hand, and walks directly to the door of his daughter, Fatima radiallahu anha. He knocks on the door and he tells his daughter that, oh my blessed daughter, أَلْبِسُوهُ مِنْ لِبَاسِ حَسَنْ وَحُسَيْنٍ وَأَطْعِمُوهُ بِطَعَامِ حَسَنْ وَحُسَيْنٍ. Give him the clothes that you will clothe Hassan and Hussein with. Give him the food that you are feeding Hassan and Hussein. Today, I don't want him to feel that he has no parents. I don't want him to feel down in any way, shape, or form. And he comes back before the time of Eid Salat, and he takes Hassan on his right hand, and he takes Hussein on his left hand, and he puts this orphan child on his shoulders. And he walks inside of the masjid. And he says, today I have 3 grandchildren. Today all 3 of them are mine. The Prophet ﷺ was able to empathize and put himself in the shoes of a kid that was not even related to him in any way, but having the ability to recognize that someone is going through something. And sometimes it's not us having to recognize it. It's us being upbeat as we are. It's us actually caring for people. When someone walks in the masjid and they see me and they meet me, what type of a mindset do they leave with? Do they leave with a bright smile on their face? Or do they think to themselves that perhaps I shouldn't have met that brother or sister today? Well, the Prophet says, إِنَّ أَحَبَّ الْأَعْمَالِ إِلَى اللَّهِ أَنْ يُدْخِلَ فِي أَخِيكِ الْمُسْلِمِ سُرُورًا. That one of the most beloved actions to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to be able to leave your beloved Muslim brother or sister in the state that he or she is actually happy with you. And they were actually, their mental ability and their mindset was raised when they met you. You raise people, not only raise yourself. All the qualities that Allah has given us and all those things that we want to achieve in our life and all those characteristics that we aspire to emulate within our life, we are not getting better for ourselves. If I'm getting better for myself, that is a selfish thing. We are getting better. So while we are getting better, we're able to use all those qualities, those assets, those elements that we have been given by Allah to raise the level of people around us. This was a natural state of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ walks outside of his house one day with 10 dirahim. Just 10 dirahim. And his wife gives him 10 dirhams and she says, buy this from the market. And as he leaves his house, someone comes and asks, oh Prophet of Allah, I need some money. The Prophet says, how much do you need? He says, I need 4 dirhams. The Prophet reaches into his pocket, hands him 4 dirhams. He continues his journey. Another person comes and asks him, oh Prophet of Allah, I need some money. The Prophet reaches into his pocket and asks, how much do you need? He says, I need 2 dirhams. He gives him 2 dirhams. The Prophet continues his journey and he sees an elderly lady, an amma, a slave woman, sitting on the sidewalk, and he comes to her and she's crying and he says, why are you crying? Why are you kiki? What's making you cry? And she says, oh Prophet of Allah, my master gave me money to go to the market. and to buy something for him from the market. And as I was going to the market, I lost the money. And now if I go back, my master will be upset at me. And he will scold me. What should I do? And the Prophet says, how much money did you lose? And she says, I had 4 dirhams. All he has left is 4 dirhams. He reaches into his pocket and he takes those 4 dirhams out. And he gives it to this woman. And he says to her, this lady, who in those societies were looked at as the lowest people. And he says, go ahead and be happy. I will speak to your master. So Anas ibn Malik says that if a jariyah would come, a young girl would come in Medina and she will hold on to the finger of the Prophet ﷺ, and she would say that I want to speak to you, O Prophet of Allah. The Prophet will respond to her and say, Imshi haythu shi'ti, go walk wherever you want. I'll be with you. I won't let you slide. I won't ignore you. What Jarir ibn Abdullah says, that the Prophet ﷺ, since the day I became Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ never ignored me. And one of the qualities that Hind Abi Hala speaks about is that every single person in his gathering felt like they were the best people in the gathering. They felt like the Prophet does not love anyone more than me. You know how difficult that quality is? If you have 3 children, believe you me, there's one child that feels less love, even though you're trying your best. The Prophet ﷺ had 10,000 of these companions, and at the end of the life, 124,000 companions, and every single one of them felt like the Prophet loves me more than he loves the person next to me. To a certain extent, when Amr ibn As radiallahu anh, a Sahaba who became a Sahaba near the end of the Prophet's life, in the last 2 years, he said to himself that I'm sitting with the Prophet ﷺ, and I think to myself, wow, the Prophet really loves me. And he loves me more than anyone else. And he plucks up the courage to actually ask the Prophet, Man ahabbu an-nasa ilayka? Who do you love the most, Ya Rasulullah? And the Prophet responds and says that I love Aisha. Min al-rijal, he says, Abuha. The point is not the Prophet saying, I love these people more. The point is that people actually felt loved. They felt that care. They felt that nusr. They felt that empathy. They felt that level of love emitting from the life of the Prophet ﷺ. Once upon a time, these were the qualities that the ummah of our Prophet ﷺ tried to aspire to attain. These were the qualities that when I walk in somewhere, people around me should feel my love. When I sit with someone, they should feel happy. They should feel good. The Prophet is sitting in the masjid, and he has his companions around him. And many people don't know this. This is the last story I'm saying, then inshallah I'll finish. Do I have time, Shir? 2 minutes? 3? Okay, this is my last story. The Prophet ﷺ is sitting with his companions, and his grandson, Hassan radiallahu anh, Hussein radiallahu anh, actually had a stutter. He was born with a stutter. It would take him minutes to say one sentence. It would take him minutes to take out one thought from his mind. Minutes. And for a child, that can be very traumatizing as he's growing up, especially if he has such an eloquent brother like Hassan radiallahu anh. Nonetheless, the Prophet is sitting with his companions, Hassan on his right, Hussein next to him. He's 5 years old, and when a child reaches the age of 4, 5, 6, he starts speaking up a little more. The Prophet is speaking to the companions, and Hussein stands up, and he starts speaking. The Prophet looks at Hussein radiallahu anh, and this was the gathering of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He turns his entire chest towards Hussein. And this child is struggling and managing to say a few words. And he's stuttering continuously. And Anas ibn Malik says it takes him more than 3 minutes to say one sentence. Can you believe that? And the Sahaba start looking around at each other with some awkwardness, not out of viciousness, but they're awkwarded out. What should we do? And they look at the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ is holding the hand of Hussein tightly, and he's looking bright smiled on the face of Hussein radiallahu anh, telling him without saying it that, oh my son, speak on. I'm here for you. Speak on. I feel for your pain. I understand and I'm with you while you're in this struggle. Not that, hey, that's enough, stop. Okay, I got your point. And he looks back to the Sahabas, and all of them are in this state of being weirded out. That what should we say? The Prophet ﷺ notices this, and he says to the Sahaba, ala rislik, it's okay. It's okay. إِنَّهُ قَدْ وَرَثَتْ مِنْ عَمِّهِ مُوسَى. He inherited his stutter from his uncle Musa alayhi salam. It's not a big deal. Putting himself in the shoes of a child. Sometimes even as parents, as uncles, as elders in the community, if my nephew, my son, my daughter takes a few minutes to say one sentence or one statement, it's very easy for us to push them aside and let them be. But let us remind ourselves when Allah says, وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ, that we have given each person a choice towards two pathways. The easy tafsir of that is هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. That's a very apparent tafsir of that. But let's read on a little more. And Allah says, what is Najdain? What's the high road? فَلَقَتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةِ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةِ. We were speaking about this just a few days ago in our classes. What is a high road? Every person, when he meets someone that is struggling, has been given two options. مَا الْعَقَبَةِ. Aqaba is what that climb on top of the mountain, which is difficult. Aqaba is that pathway which is hard to walk on. Aqaba is that when it becomes difficult for you to do. And Allah says, what is Aqaba? Mal Aqaba? Is it salat? Is it siyam? Fakku raqaba. Aw it'amun fi yawmin dhi masqaba. Yatiman dha maqraba. Aw miskinan dha matraba. Aqaba, the high road, the difficult road, is to find those people within our communities and that are around us, and to gauge that these people are going through some type of difficulty in their lives, and empathize with them and feel for them and be with them. Empathy is when my food becomes tasteless for me. That's empathy. Empathy is when I have restless nights because I see what's going around the world. Empathy is not when my Twitter goes viral. Empathy is when I sit at night crying my eyes out because those people that are being murdered across the world. That's empathy. The Prophet ﷺ had a norm, and his practice was whenever he was sent out a caravan or a jama'ah or a group of sahabas, and if he was not with them, he would go outside the city of Medina and he would go in the back of the jama'ah, in the back of the group, and he would be the last person to enter the city of Medina. And once upon a time there was a battle, and there was a journey, and there was a group of sahabas who went out for this journey. And when they came back, there was a young son by the name of Bashir radiallahu anhu, a kid at the age of 5 or 7 years old. A kid is prepared. That your father went out with the sahabas on a campaign, and he is about to return from this campaign, and the mother dresses the child. She makes him wear nice clean white clothes. She showers him. She puts on the best of all fragrances. And I can attest to how mothers treat children when the father comes back from a journey. A child, when his father comes back, he jumps on him. Even if he's gone for one day. Imagine your father being gone for weeks, and your mother preparing that now you're going to meet your father. He's finally coming back. This child excitedly, elated, excited, runs outside the city. And he stands on top of the hill. And the mother says, when you see your father, wave to him from on top of the hill so he can see you and he can come to you. Wave to your father so he can recognize that you're there. This child is waiting there. And he sees the first flank of the army come. And as the first flank of the army walks in, he notices that my father is not in that flank. That my father is not there. He says, it's okay. Maybe he's in the next flank. Maybe he's coming with the next group. And as he's standing on top of the hill, looking around, looking for his father, searching, observing that maybe right now my father will walk in. And the second flank passes by, and there's no sign of the father. And now finally, the third group of sahabas walk in. And they start entering the city. This child starts looking around. Where's my dad? I got dressed up. My mom prepped me for this. My mom told me that my dad's coming back. He has to be coming back. And he's looking. But where's my father? And as the third flank passes through, he sees the Prophet ﷺ at the end of that group. And he falls to his knees, recognizing that no father had returned. No father had come back. And those same white, beautiful clothes with that fragrance that was emitting from him, he fell on the floor. Those same white clothes, dusty with the sand of the deserts of Medina. The Prophet ﷺ, This man sees him from a distance, that a child is crying on top of the hill. And he goes to him. No man is too big to put himself lower in order to raise those that are around us. No person is too large. No person is too special to put himself or herself lower to make others feel special about themselves. The Prophet comes and he sits down on his knees and he grabs this child, and the child puts his shoulder on the neck of the Prophet and he cries out his eyes. Wallahi, we should ask ourselves, how many people have actually cried out their eyes on our shoulders? And if we don't have many people that have done that, perhaps I don't give off those positive vibes. I don't give off that compassion and empathy for others. He lets his child cry out his eyes, and at the end of it, he says, "Oh child." One is sympathizing. One is saying, "Yeah, cool man, I care for you, cry out your eyes." That's one thing. But the Prophet empathized, and he said to him, "Ama tarda, ama tarda, ana akuna abaka wa Aishatu ummuk." Won't you be happy, O son, that from tomorrow on, I'm going to be your father, and Aisha is going to be your mother? This is what we call empathy. And since the Sahabas felt this from the Prophet ﷺ, Islam became something which became viral. It became viral. Something which everyone looked at and saw and said, we want to become like that. Today, my dear brothers and sisters, let's make Islam viral again. Let's make Islam that way of life that everyone looks at and says, wow, I want what he or she has. How does something become valuable in the eyes of people? How does something become valuable in the eyes of people? By people. By people. People make things valuable. People make qualities valuable. People make things become valuable. Let's make this quality become valuable, so hopefully from that quality of ours, we can hold up the hands of our people in our communities and raise them and make them feel like they're better than what they think they are, and make them feel special, and make them feel that not only do I recognize your pain, that I'm here for you and I'm with you in that pain. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to bring this into our lives and to emit this within our lives so people can actually feel it from us like a vibe and an aura, and give this quality of ours, the special quality of ours, the strength to affect those who are around us. Wa akhu da'wan alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.
نبدي الجمال على غصون بهائكم ليفوح عطر الورد والريحان.